Alright, so this is Hamachi The Psychotic Killer. This is one of the games that I had saw at Dreamhack, that I had saw in the industry, or indie playground rather, and it definitely caught my attention, more for the platforming, not so much the gimmick of this inanimate object being into serial killing. It's not like I care or anything that much, but the reason why it just didn't really stick out for me is just because I guess it wasn't funny. I guess if the lines were a little bit funnier, or if it was written a little bit better, I think I would have been more interested in that. But I mean, he's cute. I mean, and they look cute and everything. But other than that, it wasn't anything of what I cared for. So I could say at least what was good was the platforming. The platforming was extremely good for me, in my opinion, and I've come from a Mega Man X background. I did like the mechanic of jumping on the walls and also sliding down or descending down from the walls. I also did like the axe mechanic, where it did have a delay. It's not like an instant attack mechanic. It kind of lifts up then hits, so you have to kind of really be smart with where you're trying to hit things. With that, it gives it this Castlevania-esque type of feeling where you have to really decide what you're going to do first before you kind of do it. But what kind of throws off the mechanic is how floaty it is a little bit, or at least fluid your motion is. You can really just run into the enemy very easily by just running into them. And there's not necessarily a stopping mechanic or any stopping animation. When you run, you kind of just run and stop, and so it's kind of sometimes hard to gauge when you're going to try to walk up to an enemy and hit them. But once you kind of get used to that mechanic, it'll work out. It'll work out, and you can get good timing on things and attack the enemies pretty well. But the timing for it is a little weird, so I do have to say that. I'm not sure if that's a flaw, or if that was purposed to the mechanic of you playing and you get used to it. You know, like I've played a bunch of platforming games that aren't good, so for me I can kind of get used to when mechanics are not too favorable, but I'm not sure if this mechanic was done purposely. I do like the mechanic of the axe, like I mentioned before, and I think that is purposed, but I'm not sure if, for example, when you run into an enemy and then you start flashing to show you're invincible for a little bit to kind of rebalance yourself, how easy it is to kind of hit an enemy again by just kind of running into them, because the mechanics is very easy to just move left and right, so to speak. I did have to say that certain areas of where the enemies were kind of hard. You can't just run through the game. And again, I did mention that's how the attack motion is, and it kind of reminds me of Castlevania. But once you start getting a little bit later into the demo, you start to see that the enemy placement is a little bit better. You can't just run past the enemy, so to speak. At some points you can, but for the most part, you really have to take your time and strategize how you're either going to get around them or how you're going to attack them head on. I think the coolest part that kind of threw me off was when I was versing with the police, and I had to run away from them and basically just kind of do this temple run style 2D auto platforming type of thing, where basically the character's running by himself, the police are following your steps, and you have to just kind of jump to either get around spikes, get over platforms, or jump between walls to kind of wall jump, and avoid over or jump over other platforms and obstacles. So I really did like that. I think that was a pretty cool mechanic. I'm not sure if that's what you would consider the boss level is, but I definitely liked that, and that I feel like is one of the strongest points of the game. Where I feel they could improve is just a little bit of how the controls are. It could be, again, just my take on it, but moving left and right as fast as it is, it may not be as suitable. I did play on keyboard and mouse. Maybe playing on controller may be different. But other than that, I would say that this game is a pretty solid one. I do like the mechanic of how you can hit enemies and kind of like their body parts kind of splatter everywhere, the blood goes everywhere. It's a kind of gory game, but I think that's the point of the game, so to speak, is kind of this terrible offshoot red, as if it's some sort of MS Paint style look to the blood. It's kind of cute and funny to a certain degree. I wouldn't say cute as in who likes blood, but I think cute as in like, oh, it's kind of just poorly made, and the enemies and you are just like in this cute, funny environment. So it's kind of a funny, cute thing to just see. If you guys want to check out the game right now, you can do so on its website. Link will be in the description below. And also, you would definitely want to take a look at this game when it comes out on October 2020. That's when it's supposed to release. Hopefully it will release then, and we could have a full version of the game to review and go through. So, and if you do download the demo and install it and enjoy the demo, definitely leave a donation to the actual developers. I am sure they would be very happy for this, as you know, this is an indie project. Other than that, if you like the video, you can like, comment, subscribe, and I hope the rest of your day goes well. Peace.